Hello there, welcome back to some more Disco Elysium. Last episode we reached the second part of the church. We got our sweet robot arms. Canister filled with what appears to be water. The label says distilled. Der Gas zu frisch macht sie in den Himmel, ja? A speaker, the big kind they use for live music. Hello, friends.
A youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
And now I'm speaking to these three juggos.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There
Hi.
is definitely something futuristic about his hair. Aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic. Yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic. Like this guy.
Let's shake hands.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid,
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
and Egghead. Egg!
The tape player high above his head continues to blast, but it's probably anodic music.
Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
Wait, how many music venues have you organised?
We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
Why are you here?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
There's no need, the place is pretty bad.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church. And I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads. Burnouts.
Youngly spits on a screw and starts cleaning it.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that. The word.
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
Yeah?
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burners really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Won't stand for narcomaniacs of any kind. No narcomaniacs on my watch.
Yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky.
What exactly do you mean by spooky?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
I'll look into it. Tell me more.
All right, man.
He claps his hands enthusiastically.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Estelle told me Noid put the padlock on the door. Why?
Oh, so you met her. Good.
He's not as glad as he would like you to think. There's concern in his voice.
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
I need the key.
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
Speed Freak dips into his belt pack and produces the yellow key, then in a sudden cool and fused mood toughens it in your general direction. Let it fall to the ground and pick it up like a normal adult person.
Noid watches you pick up the key with a smirk.
How long have these people been locked in there?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
How can you be sure they haven't starved to death?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85%
Okay.
sure they're still alive.
Somewhere in the ruinous past that led you here, there was something called exams. You may have learned the term involuntary manslaughter there.
Andre, do you know what involuntary manslaughter means?
Yes, I do. I listen to Channel 8 all the time. I know about crime stuff, and I assure you, officer, this is not what's happening here. I'm at least 80% sure they're alive. I mean, come on. Most people aren't ever that alive in their entire lives.
Yeah, I catch your drift.
I knew you'd get it. You're one smart cop.
I get it now. Where was I with that padlock?
He nods attentively, ready to answer the questions of one smart cop.
Right, other questions.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it.
I wanted to ask you about this tent full of equipment.
Yes. What?
I see you brought your own water.
Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water.
And it's distilled too.
Oh,
He doesn't know what to say.
it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
It's like he's lying to you, my liege. But he's slippery enough that there's nothing for you to grab hold of.
Alright, enough of this.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
I need godly logic. Headphones were sold. He's convinced you're a smart cop. Oh, I'm convinced I'm a smart cop, and therefore I have a narcomania is a plague. Who exactly are these people inside the church?
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses.
Better safe than sorry. Anything more you can tell me?
Yes, there's also the machinery.
The what now?
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
Okay.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
We haven't physically seen anyone.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it.
What was that thing about something watching you?
Like you aren't alone, you know?
Uh-huh.
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost. Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man.
Crab man.
Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
Do crabs often hang around the ceiling?
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Okay.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures and not known for climbing walls.
Ambush behaviour. Crab man.
Crab man!
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
Can you tell me more about the machinery?
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely.
With a small surge of PEA, alertness fills you, as if to say, this is a dark corner. Look behind it.
Jacked up to some snuff station.
It means like one of those rich boy private radio stations, where you can listen to people getting killed on, then jerk off to it. Sick shit.
Not that we would know anything about that. Noid just likes to relay stuff.
He appears sincere enough, sire. You could of course be wrong.
We're getting derailed here. In short, you can tell to Noid about the machines. He'll tell you more.
So how can you be sure they're burnouts and dopeheads if you haven't even seen them?
Well, honestly, I can't. But I am.
This is a below feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
Well, you can't, but you do. I should add weaponized idiocy to my own repertoire.
Hey now, I'm 70% sure they're substance abusers. Don't let all that technology fool you. Where do you think the drugs come from?
Alright, let's talk about
Sure.
something else.
What?
You mentioned some kind of ecclesiastes in the church. Who are these ecclesiastes?
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Now humour me, Andre. What's the founding party?
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation.
And?
And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the Innocentic system, no?
Sound like exactly the kind who'd want loud anarchic music in their church.
You're right, they do.
He says without the slightest hint of irony.
The Pericarnassian Church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance.
He violently shakes the tape player as if to see if he can break it.
Love is hardcore.
Unity.
Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
He turns the volume up, then looks at you with a knowing nod, as if it's obvious you are now breaking to dance.
You feel it. The anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
No words, enjoy the beat.
Feels good.
I guess love can be pretty hardcore.
Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
You're right, how could the founding party be anything but enthusiastic? Dance music is about love, and so is the Pericarnassian Church.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
His friend forms a fist with a screwdriver still in his hand, approvingly so.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving. You feel like you could go for a little disco when, or if they get this club going. You've got it in you.
That's it for now.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
So
I know
you
it.
had a talk with Andre, and now you want to discuss things with Noid. Good.
Skin shows through the holes in the Speed Freak's too large sweater in front of him, an open toolbox full of carpentry tools and
It's
parts.
good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading.
He runs his hand through his hair, which is combed back in mock seriousness, and continues to fiddle with some gears. Sort of stuck on the padlock. Can you tell me anything about
A
it?
sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
It's this one. Are you familiar with it?
Seems like my creation has found its way into the legal bureaucracy. What did you want to ask about it?
What makes the sticker so modern?
Simplicity was brought to us by classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss, haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing.
Seems awesome.
It is.
What's it supposed to be?
The dead guy smiling.
And what does it mean? Why is this dead guy
He
smiling?
defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats.
Or drugged out of his mind, come to think of it.
He could also be drugged out of his mind.
Or drunk. Or in a clinical coma. Or glad to be dead. But those versions suck.
I think we've exhausted the subject for now.
I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for?
What about now? The signs are right now?
Nah. Still strongly out of sync. Stage gamma disalignment.
What?
You heard me.
Tell me about the machines you saw in the church.
Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery.
Okay.
Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
The People's Republic of Samara is a product of Revachel's sister revolution on the Grand Isola. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state.
What's wrong with the supernatural?
Nothing's wrong with it. you should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it, though.
The sickest. That's perhaps why it should be researched.
The supernatural, so you think it's real, that it actually exists.
Most of it doesn't exist, but there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist, because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff.
Why are you called Noid?
The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
He picks up some sort of widget.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Does that mean we need sign matching?
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church.
Okay, maybe I'll come back later. Alright, again.
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshy tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret.
Hardcore!
Say nothing.
Hardcore!
Still say nothing.
Hardcore to the mega!
Oh,
Here
right.
comes the night!
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think? The young man with the tape recorder acknowledges your return. When he looks at you, he squints as though you were the setting sun.
This is hardcore.
Say nothing.
Hardcore!
Still say nothing.
Hardcore to the mega!
Say nothing.
Internally coherent.
Say nothing.
Hardcore! Alright! Yeah!
Nothing.
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
He lets out Nago's roar of the fibrillation, obviously not too hardcore beat below. So hardcore. It is.
What is it? I mean, really?
You said to the other side like an owl.
Feels like you should reply with the very pinnacle of idiocy here, so that things get totally transcendent. But you haven't gotten there yet, so you don't know what to say.
I was thinking that too.
I am the mic enforcer. I am the chick's checker. Yeah!
The fuck?
Back to the
Okay,
heavy-
hang on.
Hardcore,
Nothing.
hardcore,
Nothing.
hardcore.
Nothing.
Internally coherent.
Nothing.
Hardcore! Alright!
He
Nothing.
furrows his
Hardcore!
No, but seriously, I'm a little worried it isn't.
The question is, what is the question?
That would have been good if I'd asked you a question, but I didn't. That's just idiotic.
But there was a question?
Was a question?
We're close.
True.
Okay, hang on.
Hardcore,
I'm gonna figure this out.
Internally coherent.
Hardcore!
He furrows.
The question is, what
Just answer
is
the question.
But there was no question.
Okay, so it's not that.
We're true. Hardcore.
Internally coherent.
Hang on.
Hardcore!
He
Hang on.
furrows his.
I'm gonna figure this out.
The question is, what is... But there was a...
Okay, so he says there was a question, there wasn't a question, so that's a dead end.
Yeah!
Is it really? I mean, but is it? I mean, really?
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yeags and args. This produces a guttural, Gotwaldian accent and makes him sound more animal, more in it. Or maybe it's not Gotwaldian. Maybe it's Oranese. Probably an homage to Oranje, where Arno van Eyck is from, judging by his name. Could you be listening to an Arno van Eyck creation right now?
It's the famous Van Eyck I'm hearing.
You know about him?
He moves his mouth, but sound doesn't come out. His eyes are the size of saucers. Looks like you've ended in
You
speechless.
know Van Eyck?
Your friend Estelle mentioned him.
Good.
The Advent?
We're close.
True.
Okay.
Hardcore! Yeah!
This young
Okay,
man,
hang on.
or maybe it's
You know about...
You know Van Eyck?
Yeah, I'm a major egghead.
Wow.
the skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
He begins to shake his head so everyone would understand.
Oh, is that why they call you Egghead? Because
Egghead to the Mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The Advent?
The Advent? Yeah! I don't know what
Or
you
maybe
mean.
it's not Gotwaldian.
Yeah!
I to the E to the A 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 to the G to the H to the exclamation mark! Yeah!
What the fuck is my life? What am I doing?
Yeah!
This young man, or maybe
You know about...
you know Van Eyck?
No, it's just a turn of phrase.
Oh, well, it really is him. It's an honest-to-God Van Eyck beat. Well, actually, a reworking of a peppy Popic and Arsos track. But let's not get too deep into that whole mess.
The Advent?
It's Advent?
Vic
Yeah.
Club, true. Hardcore,
Okay, still say nothing.
hardcore to the mega.
Say nothing.
Internally coherent.
I was wondering if you knew who killed the mercenary hanging behind the Whirling Rags hostel.
Good morning, yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yakokata. The
You
place
said that
to
before.
be.
Why is this Yakokata the place to be? What does that mean?
Yakokata is a hardcore place.
An intricate system of irrigation networks pockmarking the earth. Intermittent seas of phosphorus mud, ripped tarpaulin fluttering in the wind. A pair of molten rubber boots also comes to mind. All in all, a truly hardcore place.
Okay. Solve the egghead puzzle. There has to be some way to talk to this person who just haven't found it yet. It's definitely not about signs. What if you just try again? Find your way out of this maze to the things to say?
Vic Club, true. Ha, it's
Is it?
hardcore.
I don't know what to say to that.
Skibber-dee, skibber-danger. I am the rearranger.
Skibba-dibba-dibba-damba. Skibba-dibba-dibba-damba. You're just going to keep saying it's hardcore, aren't you?
Skibber-dee,
Okay, so it's not that. Okay.
Vic Club, true. Hardcore.
I mean, is it really?
This young
Yeah.
man, or maybe
You know about
You know Van Eyck? Wow.
Okay.
the skip.
Solomon.
Did it add that? Okay, so it's not that. Okay.
Vic Club,
I'm just going to do
true.
all of the things.
Hardcore to the mega.
All
Here
right.
comes
Here comes the
Vic
night.
Club, true. Hardcore to internally coherent.
Okay.
Encore. All
Please tell me,
right.
what exactly are you doing?
Yeah.
Gotta get the people going.
I see.
Yeah. Request.
Okay.
Vic close.
I will not be able to do this until I just get rid of all of the things.
Gotta get the
Why?
I'm the party boy. It's my job.
I think I'm also a party boy.
Two on a track. Watch your back. Watch out for the heart attack. Vic
Fucking-
close. True.
Please.
Hardcore, internally coherent. Gotta
Okay.
get the people going.
Why?
I'm the party boy.
What is a
It's
party boy?
Hardcore party 25/7 beyond the winter's orbit style.
Yeah.
There is a place far away in Cutler, beyond a certain latitude, known as Winter's Orbit, where there are 25 hours in a day. It is a tremendously cold place, abandoned to drunks and failed rock stars, full of eternite, depression, and half-finished ski-flying hills. The Suru live there.
Okay. I'm learning things at least, but I'm not sure if it's useful. Say nothing. Say nothing. Say nothing.
Good
Okay.
morning, yeah.
Beginning to
1,
think this
2,
really doesn't have
3.
anything to do with the case.
The place to be. It's the message, so listen and you will see.
No illusion. The
Big
spirit is what you
clouds,
feel.
true. Hardcore,
Say nothing.
hardcore,
Say nothing.
internally
Say nothing.
Encore.
Say
He
nothing.
furrows his brow.
Hardcore.
So
Is
hardcore.
it though?
I was just thinking that a moment ago.
One mind, one spirit.
Fuck. You bitch.
Big clouds,
Okay, hang on.
hardcore,
Is it though?
Internally.
Encore.
He furrows.
Hard.
So hardcore. It is.
What is it? I mean, really?
The question is, what is the question?
No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
He frowns and starts bobbing his head back and forth once more.
Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so.
You said you were worried. What do you think's wrong with the music?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore.
He turns pensive all of a sudden.
Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last month, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper?
He thinks for a moment from his expression clears.
It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto, like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
It's proto, not hardcore at all.
Wow! Culture cop! I think you might be right. But how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be?
That's suspiciously like a question. I thought the question was, what is the question?
No! This is the answer!
Try to think if anything can make it harder core.
What? Guys, there's something happening in his head.
As your mind works, the beat recedes from your ears. You hear your own blood pulsing through your head, nourishing your thoughts with oxygen. The rhythm is familiar,
Think even harder.
Oh yeah! He's doing it!
but you're not. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason.
Feel the movement of blood through your head.
The abstract shapes swelling in the foreground have done so in vain. This is a core matter. The answer, in the double kick that moves the milliliters through your mind. The dark thud is the source of all rhythm. The inspiration behind mathematics. The hardcore.
Think you've been harder.
But you're not.
My imagination fails me.
So does mine.
He laughs and shakes his head.
But there's something else that hasn't failed you.
I just remembered something. I'm the police.
Uh-huh.
Naturally, it's more likely to hinder us.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Nothing. Me being the police isn't going to help us.
Oh.
Can't help you with this right now. I need something else, something extra.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe your body can tell you what Arno Van Eyck's jam is missing to make it harder core.
You know it in your lungs where the pressure should vibrate.
Just about
in
did
your
it.
heart that's alone. And in your solar plexus where the hits should land. So does every chordate animal.
Needs more bass.
What?
The young man makes a sudden move like he's about to turn the volume down, but that would be ridiculous. And a melody. A good melody is what the song really sticks, so that you can't get out of your head anymore.
Wow. Okay. We should start with the melody. But where would we get that stuff from?
I don't know. I was thinking you would know.
I'm sorry. I don't know anything about Nordic music. I'm just the party boy. I get the people going and say it's hardcore.
He feels ashamed. He can't be of more service to the future of dance music.
Okay, I'll look into it. It's in official capacity. It's up to the police to make the beats go harder.
The young man falls silent with appreciation. He even tries to contain his smile, as if it could hinder your investigation.
How the fuck am I going to do that?
Basically, what you need to find here is a tape with some banging music on it, so that Egghead could use it to remix Van Eyck's jam.
Yeah. Maybe that street hawker across the pawn shop has got some tapes to sell. That's just an idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all yours to figure out, Copman.
Copman!
Are you a thought reader?
No nation, but transnation. No war, but class war.
Does that mean you're a thought reader?
Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later one of them will come off as thought reading.
Yeah! Revolution imperative!
Unless you were thinking Revolution imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with Eggs yelling. I know what you mean.
You're right. I wasn't thinking that.
Hardcore superstar!
Tell me something else, Egghead.
Yeah!
Is your real name Jermaine?
Dark hardcore! Jermaine Egghead!
Basically, yes it is.
Why are there lungs on your belt buckle?
Lungs are for love!
Why would lungs be for love?
When Dolores Day was anointed innocence, her lungs started glowing through her body. For the world loved her, and she loved it back. Yeah!
Why wouldn't they be? Are the lungs not the place where you hold the breath of your soul?
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Love!
He suddenly yells, the world seems to stop.
Lonely as I am, I'm not afraid. This strange, damaged feeling grows on and on. Cause I've never loved someone like you before.
A dopamine surge accompanies the words. It feels like electricity flowing down your scalp, dissipating into your neck. Feels good. Like a spark of life in that moribund sponge you call your body.
Alright, goodbye, Egghead.
Alright! Here comes the night!
I've been in here for like hours. Kim's like, what the fuck is he doing? We've got to get some sick beats for my boy Egghead. The police is... I'm going to tell him the police are going to make the beats harder now. He's going to be like, what? Hello.
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice.
She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean.
I'll help you, alright.
Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here.
You just told me you went inside the church. What did you see in there?
Oh, that. You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurt it out, crab man, than the others.
We'll see. Go ahead and tell me.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still.
Go on.
And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me. Right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
This crab man looked like...
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on. She obviously could. She already went into detail.
You were wrong. I do believe you.
Why?
What would you stand to gain?
Nothing. Anyway, what else? Oh,
She's less prone to blood.
okay.
See?
She was dressed like... And
Go
then,
on.
you know, he stopped.
Like a crab?
It was
What did
too
the crab man
dark.
look like?
Come on.
Come on.
She obviously could. She already went into detail.
Quit stalling on me. What did he look like?
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only made it scarier in a way.
A crab? And a banger?
The lieutenant raises an eyebrow.
Yes, a banger. As in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw.
I believe you.
Why?
Seems too ludicrous for a lie.
I guess so. Anyway, what else?
I'd like to know more about your
My
associates.
associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
What do you mean? You must know something about them.
Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
Right.
To the cops.
What about you? Tell me something about yourself.
Me? I'm a silver bird.
Ah, okay. Maybe I'll ask later about all this.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but... My associates? I haven't
Just
got
ask the
much to say
question.
about
Okay.
them. Of course I do.
To the cops.
Don't know
Okay.
what makes you think...
Do you know what makes you think we say something different? After I've set them up, I'll be able to talk to them and find out what the fuck they're really doing. And then once I find out what they're really doing, I'm gonna blow this bitch wide open. But first I need to go into this church and see what the hell's going on. I've got the key, which I just picked off the floor like a regular human, and didn't try and catch it like an acrobat. I'm bad at
Heavy
catching things.
wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the
Let's
wall.
open the padlock with the key.
The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
As you
Follow the
do,
doors.
you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area. Its black holes and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city.
Okay. There could be dead people in here, and if they are dead, he has killed them all involuntarily, so involuntary manslaughter. Strange stillness fills you with the lead. You should walk here, not run. More the forked lightning pattern you saw outside. Bark beetles? No, it looks intentional. Some long forgotten style. Grotesque wooden figure looks half finished. The figure was added later. It's not part of the original. The original? What the fuck? Original church. My brain sometimes, I don't know what the fuck. The blackboard is filled with complex equations. They look recent. 2 decks of reel-to-reel tape spinning on empty. Portable Harman Welsh tape recorder. Is it possible it's recording something? Someone's siphoning electrical current from outside into this antennae.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
He seems cautious around the machine.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
Yeah, but this machine looks just like the one in the Doom commercial area.
It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
He inspects the machine's framework, careful not to touch
The
anything.
one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Fell mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer.
Okay. Cool.
The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation.
Let me just investigate it.
You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed.
Let's look inside the compartment.
Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater.
Not yet. Not yet. I don't want to fuck around. Uh-oh, don't run. How old habits die hard. Some rogues. Ooh. Look at that. Looking fly. I want my Crocs on though. My it's not Crocs, but you know, crocodile skin or snake skin. Spider spin its web around this wood-carved pillar. Cracked pane of glass, colourful. I wonder if the ghosts they were thinking of was just the machine playing back sounds. Frost has drawn flowers on the glass, obscuring the view. Silk scarf. Pain threshold instead of inland empire. Okay. There's definitely Mesk gear in here.
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent.
Wait, I think I still hear something.
And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums, it seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. Sounds like the Pale.
I don't know what the Pale sounds like.
From recordings of the Far Pale. You've heard them. We all have. You can hardly hear your own breathing.
Stomp your feet, clap your hands.
You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow.
Yell as loud as you can.
Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers.
What's happening, Kim?
The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Not really, but it's extraordinary. I never experienced anything like this.
I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
His detached tone conceals how
It's like an anechoic
uncomfortable
chamber.
he is. Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Whatever it is, it's definitely real. Something odd's happening around us.
The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense him tense up next to you.
Let's look into the bell tower.
The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead.
What if I don't want to know what's up there?
The silence, the darkness, they've enveloped you as in a cocoon. You cannot move anymore.
Try. I'd succeed. What the fuck? I had an insane roll.
It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows.
I managed to get exactly what I needed because I rolled 2 5s on the dice. Jesus. Shadows emerge from the tower. It's making their way towards you through all the other shadows. Follow the shadow's movements.
It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
The lieutenant follows your gaze, attempting to see whatever it is you're seeing.
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go?
On the ceiling?
Yes. The darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. It's climbing, climbing down, holding on the beams.
Just blink.
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes.
Diego.
Maybe it's possible to talk to it.
Oh, good. Bowl was filled with water. A live wire runs directly into it. You alright, mate?
The shadow is a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The crab man.
Saying it's nothing, be quiet for now.
The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Rivershaw.
The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Sheesh.
Yeah, I guess I have a bit of a problem. It's been getting out of hand lately, but...
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even know it.
Oh, I'm very in touch with my suffering.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc El Vino is wrecking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Look at these crazies. What is this shit?
For some reason I feel like you have a point there.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes.
Voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
He swears gently on the beams, waiting for you to take it all in.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege. Save him perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
You must be the crab man.
Never known myself to be a crab. But if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it.
If you're not a crab, then what are you?
I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique.
That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there?
Wait, did you also carve all those sculptures?
Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands in service of something greater than my own restlessness.
All right, let's consider the context and meaning here.
See what we've done there? It's as if these figures are trying to become one with the church, or perhaps with the mother herself.
It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it.
What were you before you became a crab man and a woodcarver?
I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone.
I lost my memory too, but I like it. It's like I get to create a whole new me, start again from scratch.
That's not really the point, I say. You gotta give yourself over to service. Service of the mother, that is.
Do you remember your name, sir?
Tiago's my name. But those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows. Your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore.
My name's Harry.
That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters.
He ignores your hands, his limbs a mere shadow below the ceiling. What are you doing here?
This is a special place. there's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
Are these yours? Showing the scarf and shoes you found lying around.
I think they were. A long time ago. I had to shed them like skins to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them. I don't need them anymore.
They look pretty dapper, actually.
What will happen when you drink from the perforation?
I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
What's this mother of silence you keep talking about?
Oh, that's no simple question, Essa. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will.
How did you even find this place, this church?
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
I don't understand what you're doing in the church.
I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory.
Can you sing for me? Singing is good, we should sing a bit more.
I don't mean literal singing, Holmes. This is the mother of silence we're talking about. It's the singing of a burning heart. You may be thinking, but fire crackles. No, Holmes. That's the material that's burning. The flames themselves are without sound.
Right, I had other
The
questions.
sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
You've been here a long time. Do you know where the church is abandoned?
Police raid a while back.
He responds, his voice suddenly flat.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
Some ravers want to turn this place into a nightclub.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me.
So what do you think about the nightclub that is?
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
Do you know where the other spooker is?
Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
Wait, so there's another person living in the church and it's Viejita?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
You don't know where she is?
That's what I said, Holmes.
How can you not know where... How can you not know that when you both live here?
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
So you got nothing else to tell me how she looks, what she does, who is she?
I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Okay then. Thanks. Alright, so I've got another thought. Wasteland of reality. I'm going to learn my I'm going to learn how to be not an alcoholic. That's what I want.
The machine's keyboard
Right, let's
is
press
still.
print.
Nothing happens.
Let's press play.
The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Yvonne, it's me again. How are you?
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
I looked inside the core, but the tape on the filament just said log Feb March.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
I don't know the password.
Received. I will register this login attempt. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Fortress accident, like the one in the Doom commercial area?
I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brun, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brun, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with?
Thanks, but I'm finished with this call.
Sleep well, votre accident.
She says there's a voice
The
dismissal or a
machine's
static.
keyboard is...
Okay. I know the time's over already, but I need to at least do something. Hey, Tiago, how you doing, mate? Could you give me the password?
Oh, hey, wait. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love.
Have you by any chance heard the V8 say the password to a computer?
Too many times, essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
I'm doing a survey of passwords of passcodes identifying regional trends in the interest of public safety, of course.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita Pequeña when I hear it.
Okay,
I
then.
think we're
Thank
done
you.
here, essay.
The figure crawls off to the darkness
That
above.
was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
So eventually this guy's going to kill himself anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. He'll just explode himself, but there aren't dead people here.
The machine's keyboard,
Hello.
the speaker
Good evening.
Let's try this again. I think I may have found the right
Votre
password for the personal
accident
log.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Afterlife death.
Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Thank you.
Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Thanks, I'm finished with the call.
Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard
Let's press
is...
print.
The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal.
Read the
The
printout.
first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author,
Yes.
is short and concise.
Tell me.
Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
Do you think this log might be connected to the case?
Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
Read the second entry.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be interesting.
Wait, narcotics?
I doubt that we can find any. It's just idle fishermen's gossip to scare away the kids.
He looks at the stained glass window.
Nothing spooky about this place either. It's just abandoned and cold, and in an awful part of town.
Then why doth the lieutenant protest against spending time here so often?
Read the third entry.
7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking Esca series, something advanced.
Why would she need an antenna?
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
He steps on the wire running on the ground, inspecting it with his boot. Read the
8th
fourth
of
entry.
February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers, but at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Data loss?
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading.
Artists, programmers, Lexi, who are all these people?
I think these people worked in the radio computer games business. The one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
Read the 5th entry.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
Let's read the 6th entry.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
The lieutenant looks to his right toward the silence. Read the 7th
28th
entry.
of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the Swallow is real, and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence, with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
What could it be? Look at the water basins behind
The
you.
lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples.
Read the 8th entry.
March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good. I don't want anyone distracting me from my
You
work.
must be describing a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
Read the 9th entry.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinez of her.
That's me. I was the one who broke into that radio computer, and the storekeeper must be
I
Pleasant.
knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with the machine.
No. It was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things about machines.
Read the 10th entry.
March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. You'll read it, interrupted by the sound of the church door
shit.
opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Hello. The police.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
She glares at you as she holds off down the off button for several seconds. The machine reboots.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
We're here on a side case representing certain music venue organisers. No, we're not just breaking in, I'm pursuing a mysterious lead searching for my lost identity.
You won't find any answers from here.
She barely looks up from the keyboard. You hear the machine whir back to life.
It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
I
We should
shouldn't have.
talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Go ahead.
What is it?
Hey, are you the lead programmer of Vival and Tether by any chance?
Yes. Or no. Not anymore. That project is dead.
She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized. Rather sad. Something passes over her face before she straightens her back.
I didn't break anything, did I?
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper.
It does not look like a big loss to her. So, but who are you? What are you doing here?
I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
He turns back to the terminal.
Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was still a teenager.
You seen the crab man?
Nope.
But you know he's around?
Yes.
Sounds like you're not worried about him at all.
No. You're right. I'm not.
Why are there so many machines in this place?
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything.
Why do you need an antenna?
I use the AR-1 as my RAIN prefix processing unit.
Main prefect, that's your radio computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that antenna is its processing unit?
Yes. You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you?
She stopped working now. I know it a little.
All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna.
And the AR-1 is a good antenna?
I guess it is. So far, I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieux dedicated to that sort of thing.
She liked telling you this. It calmed her nerves.
What about those bowls of water over there?
They are connected to my RAIN prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay?
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
What are you doing with the radio computer?
I'm working.
Working on what?
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
Isn't your own prefect radio computer made exclusively for government use?
So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps.
So why do you have it?
Because I needed something good for my investigation, and RAIN Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards. So I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a RAIN prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see REAM prefects in every police department, for example.
How did you get your hands on it?
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAIN Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as RAIN Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain.
Right, I'll try not to touch anything. Next
Great.
question. What are you doing in an abandoned church?
You really like those questions, don't you?
There's a hint of amusement in her tired eyes.
They're bloodshot. She really hasn't been getting much sleep lately, has she?
I'm a police officer. It's just my job to ask
I'm
questions.
conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out.
She says ready to stand her ground. What
I'm looking
research?
for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what?
What?
She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Is the hole connected to the data loss in your journal?
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that.
A hole in the world? What does that mean exactly?
Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
She's suddenly absorbed in the conversation, waiting for your answer.
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
You measure it by collecting data on its surroundings, on that which exists.
Exactly. Very true. That's what I've been aiming for. That's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins.
Ah, hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well.
You have any idea where the hole might be located?
Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
She looks up the others, trying to pierce the pitch black heights above, but without much success.
Strange things may flourish in the dark.
Why there?
There's this place at the back of the church. A place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow. And the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place.
It's where the Crabman lives.
I know.
You don't think Crabman might be somehow responsible here?
No, I don't.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning. Her hands typing hundreds of commands into the machine.
Said the research isn't going well. Why not?
Because it's just trial and error. Trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work.
That's all I wanted to know about the scary 2mm hole in the wall for now.
Great. Thanks.
How do you feel about anodic dance music?
What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Have you actually even listened to it? Like, actually listened?
Yeah. Like, all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they?
She pulls a face that looks absolutely scathing.
Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music.
Right, but how do you feel about a club for anodic dance music?
This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here.
Okay, what do they want to build then?
Take a guess, why don't you?
Still convinced they want to establish a nightclub for anodic dance music. They said it's their dream. A youth centre would be nice.
I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
Right, I'll let you leave in peace now. Tell Andre about Suna's thoughts on the nightclub. What about this big old fucking hole?
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. A dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
Excuse me. Okay.
Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass.
Close your eyes first.
The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. In the darkness, you sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with their multicolored glass, as if you're a bug under a microscope.
Open my eyes.
The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips, and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You.
It's morning.
As that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Do the same as you get up.
Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
How did I know this is the mother of humanism?
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men.
Wait, what exactly is an innocence?
The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit.
A ruler.
More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate innocent rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office.
I see. Is one in office now?
No, we are alone.
Okay, when did she rule?
300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi. She is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world.
What else do I know about her?
Many things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir Laclay. Also, that she was gorgeous beyond beauty, draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under a long, slender form like this, dwarfed.
Okay, what else? Was she smart?
Terribly. Women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous.
How come?
It was on her advice that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history. The DeLorean era.
Wow.
Wow indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt.
Was there something terrifying about her?
Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her.
No, there was something bad about her? I want to know.
You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day. Constantly surrounded by her terriers, she was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
What happened?
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity,
Okay.
suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity.
Dehumanize your enemies. Classic tactic.
She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes.
Lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the corridor of the church.
What are you thinking of, if I may ask?
She's somehow connected to the case.
She's been dead for 300 years. I am almost 1,000% certain she isn't connected to the case.
No, not her the person, her the concept.
None of this is, in fact. This church, the coast, this isn't a good place to get lost in.
Let's reconstruct the cracked glass.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both.
This was the original whole thing. Who shattered the mosaic?
Unknown. A motor carriage? A gunshot? Someone falling into it? Or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break.
Who is the older woman?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
Motto, what does it say?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Lieutenant, this used to say after life, death, after...
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
What's the RCM motto now?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
I like the other one better.
So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you.
Dolores Day.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records.
You knew of the place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Ravachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
What else do you know?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Setsa, they call them. the Seven Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
He looks at the machinery lying around.
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? A pang of guilt? The lieutenant is leaving something out.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Who conducted this raid?
Well, your station was involved, I hear.
Shit.
Although I can't be sure.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
You're not sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
I guess I could have been here.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Give me a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Okay. I mean, I can kind of get on with that. You don't need to believe in some figure. According to the records, Dolores Day existed, so that's better than some faiths already. I'll take it. I guess for now, I've been going for an hour and 22 minutes, so I kind of got lost in the time and then thought, well, I'm already here now, so I might as well just keep going. What I'll do is I'll stop outside the church. It's nighttime now. I've been there for a few hours. This day went by quicker than I thought it would. And I'll go speak back to the guys before I go to sleep. And then the following day, we'll go and find out what the fuck's going on and see if we can't clear this whole situation up. If they're not trying to build a nightclub, what are they trying to build? See you then. Goodbye.